So, you hear a lot about episodes or moments that made someone a brony, but you don't hear about episodes that did quite the opposite that often. It actually took me 2 tries to actually come to like the show. The first episode I watched was Sonic Rainboom, after it had been out for a while, of course. I think I first watched it during the latter half of Season 2, or shortly after Season 2 ended, depending on how correct my dates are. I watched it with a couple friends who picked out the episode, quoting it as their favorite, and no doubt assuming I'd see it the same way. Needless to say, I came away less than impressed, and surprisingly enough, it heavily features my 2 least favorite ponies, so maybe there's a connection there, first impressions and all. I still don't like Sonic Rainboom that much, even now. So I suppose it's best to get it out of the way. I started feeling iffy about it during the start. All I saw was this timid little horse getting yelled at by this boisterous rainbow-colored one. As someone who sympathizes with the shy, I have to admit it wasn't the best first impression, especially when she's trying her hardest to do what she wants and cheer the rainbow one on. On top of that, she's just so braggy and prideful, and she doesn't seem to have the skills she brags ever so much about. Even now, I'd call Rainbow Dash the element of pride rather than loyalty. It gets worse after the break. I remember my original thoughts being this: wow, all these horses are just jerks. What did these guys see in this? Be mindful this is my first introduction to these characters, and so far all I'd seen was one of them being yelled at, some other horses working in the library, the rainbow one smashing up the library without so much as a serious apology before taking off again, and then the rainbow horse shows some doubt beforehand, and the yellow horse becomes the butt of the joke again. Marshmallow horse stands to rainbow horse's defense, then the cowboy horse says exactly what I'd been thinking the entire time, and then the pink horse does something stupid. So far, that's only 2 out of 6 characters I don't have grievances with. Not exactly the best impression. I'm afraid to say I couldn't really get past this first impression. It doesn't help that Rarity, after coming up with this plan of helping Rainbow Dash, pressures Twilight into coming up with a solution. Note that at this point I had no idea how magic worked in the show, so I assumed that Rarity could have done the spell, but was lazy. I mean, they're both unicorns. Then, when Rarity gets her wish, she spends all of this time in Cloudsdale just being an attention whore, and making Rainbow Dash doubt herself more and more. Now, I didn't have much love for Rainbow at this point, so I still saw the person I'd seen in the start, the overly prideful and boasty brat that didn't have the skills to back it up, but I still hated Rarity for upstaging everything her quote-unquote friend had wanted to do, and had actually needed to succeed. I remember thinking, these guys are supposed to be friends, right? The rest of the ponies remain on the grounds they started at by that point through. The purple smart one that spouts out exposition, the cowgirl I kinda like, the pink one that might have mental issues, and the cute sounding Pegasus with the pink hair. Literally all I knew about them by that point. By the end, I was starting to warm up to the show a little, and I thought, this is where they learn not to be dicks to each other, maybe. I mean, this was an early episode, right? Then we get this line.
Oh, thank you, Rainbow Dash. You saved my life. Oh yeah, I did that too.
It seemed that Rarity had learned her lesson, but the fact it nearly cost both her and 3 other ponies their lives, it just soured it a little. She got a little higher in my good books, but that freaking line from Rainbow Dash... Maybe I had decided not to like it from the starting bit. I don't know, it was 2 years ago. It was 2 freaking years ago. Man, that's a long time. Now, a year later, in the midst of Season 3, I'd adopted a, hey man, you do what you love and I'll do mine, sort of thing with the Bronies. I mean, who the hell am I to judge? I'd actually befriended a few more Bronies in this time via mutual interests, one of whom may be watching now. Hello, mein friend! And I'll admit, they sort of pushed me closer to the fandom. You guys put out a lot of sweet art and music, I have to say. Eventually, I was sick, or bored, or something, and I picked an episode at random to take a second look. And it was Dragonshy. Dragonshy is the episode that made me love the show, though I must admit I didn't really watch the show religiously, or visit fan pages and stuff. That came later when my stupid furry brain finally said, hey, you're a brony now, it's Saturday, so we're watching some horses, damn it. I'm sure I've said this before, but Dragonshy is my freaking jam. I absolutely love that episode. Not to gush, but the fact that these other ponies actually had roles in the episode without being exposition spews or set dressing was really nice. It was especially great to see that Fluttershy, a pony I'd assume was the group's butt monkey, was actually valued enough that she was needed to get this dragon out of the way. I was less impressed by Rainbow Dash, who takes every opportunity to try and make Twilight send her back. Honestly, I'm most impressed with Fluttershy in this episode. It's obvious she's absolutely terrified of dragons, and rightly so. Yet she still tries her best to keep up once they're on their way, even though she has a lot more trouble with it than the others because of her reactions. In fact, I found the others a lot less believable in that situation since, hey, it's a giant bloody dragon and you're 3-foot-tall horses. Magic or no, you're kinda on the losing side here, you guys. In the end, when they finally reach the dragon's lair, they basically run it like a D&D encounter, as I've heard another analysis call it. With diplomacy, charisma, fighting, persuasion, all of that. Of course, none of them work, and it just pisses off the dragon. Then, with her friends in danger, Flutter steps up in a big way, staring down a creature that must be over 50 times her height, and winning. I know it's a metaphor for standing up to a bully without resorting to violence or something similar to that, but it's just, man, it's so damned awesome! It just cemented Fluttershy as the top of the pile for me, and it really is the episode that made me a brony, if you could cement that down to one event. I could just gush forever about Dragonshy, and maybe I will later if I get around to analyzing old episodes, but for now, accept this TLDR. Fluttershy is cute, scared of dragons. Her friends aren't, for some reason, super fleshed out, and Rainbow is kind of mean. Dragon gets stared down by easily the most startled character in the show. Roll credits. And it is awesome the entire way through. The thing that struck me as extremely strange when I saw where it sat in Season 1's episodes was that it came before Sonic Rainboom, and all I could think was, if I'd seen this first, maybe I'd have liked the show when they showed me it, which kinda adds to the point I'm making here. Some episodes are just bad for first-time watchers, and I'm sure there are plenty more I wouldn't bat an eyelash at knowing about the shows I do now, but someone just coming in, they'd be like, what is this stuff? Man, why is this horse being mean to this horse? What's going on? What is Celestia? What is... So, now the question falls to you, my dear audience. 1, what episode made you a brony? Or did you have a similar experience to me where you watched one episode and you were like, you know, this isn't my thing, and then you came back to it later? Or, like, do you just have ideas of episodes that you're like, you know what, this might be a little bit too deep for someone who's just coming in. Maybe this shouldn't be someone's first episode. Or what episodes would be very good first episodes? Like, what is your go-to episode when you have a friend who doesn't know Pony and you're like, hey, watch this episode with me, maybe you'll like it. So, you know, just leave that down below and share your experiences, because I'd like to read them. As always, I am Nozavix, and I'll be back with this week's analysis and all of that. I also do Let's Plays and gaming stuff, and I also do game reviews now. I do game reviews now as well. So that's fun. So like, comment, favorite, subscribe, and I'll be back with your MLP, gaming, occasionally news content. And I will see you around.